Welcome to Decades of Horror, the 1980s.
One tiny little hole in a fucking toe of his suit, man. No bigger than Jeff's dick. Yeah, the way the ocean came in, the pressure just crammed his whole body up into the helmet in a matter of seconds. We just buried his helmet.
This is episode 204, recorded April 18th, 2022.
Gruesome Magazine.
Wow, a hole that small. That small.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very small.
My name is Jeff Mohr, and he was talking about a different Jeff in that quote.
Yeah.
This podcast is about horror films.
Other Jeff.
Yeah. Not Jeff Mohr, Jeff Less.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey. Dun.
Each episode, my co-hosts Bill Mulligan, Crystal Cleveland, and Chad Hunt, and I will tackle another classic or not so classic film from this radical, gory, influential, and gruesome decade. Joining me today are my co-hosts. First up is Crystal Cleveland, the Living Dead Girl, co-host of the Gruesome Magazine podcast. How are you, Crystal?
I'm great. I'm well.
I'm amazed that we all found time to sit still here for.
Oh man.
Yeah. Me
hour
too,
or so.
actually. If y'all don't know,
Also-
we've been working on trying to get together a long time, feels like.
Yeah, I think so. Also joining us is Chad Hunt, comic book artist and writer and special effect. Or no, he's not a special effects guru. He's a co-host
competition.
of Decades of Horror, the classic era, Decades of Horror, the 1970s. Chad, how are you?
I am a special effect.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
You're special and you have an effect. So
Yeah. Two separate things.
I mean,
that
this
go
could be
great together.
taken good or bad. I'm not sure
Yeah.
how. Like,
Yep.
Take it how you
I
want.
know,
This is an interpretative show here. I'm good, man. I'm good. Just
Good.
trying to fight off these the pollen in the air. But other than that, I'm doing good.
And last but not least is Bill Mulligan, writer, director, and special effects guru, co-host of Decades of Horror, the 1970s, and all-around nice guy.
And Cat Dad.
East Coast traveler.
East Coast
Bill,
Traveler.
how you doing?
I got back in at 7 a.m. from whirlwind trip to upstate New York and Montreal, seeing family, which was wonderful for the soul, but I need a vacation. Alas, that was my vacation, so now it's back to work tomorrow.
So, it's always that way.
Yeah.
So, on this podcast, we discuss a specific film and give a few details, some basic information about the film, and then go through some first impressions, and then kind of take off down the road wherever our discussion takes us.
Yep.
Our topic tonight
Yay.
is Leviathan, directed by George P. Cosmatos.
Cosmatos, I've heard
Yeah.
it pronounced.
Okay, Cosmatos. Written by Jeb Stewart and David Webb Peoples. Cast includes Peter Weller, Amanda Pays, Richard Crenna, Ernie Hudson, Daniel Stern, Lisa Eilbacher, and Hector Elizondo, Michael Carmine, and Meg Foster.
Great cast.
yep.
So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them down in the Shack 7, as they call it, and Meg Foster up top, flashing her beautiful eyes and doing evil stuff. So it's filmed in the Adriatic Sea, also in Calcutta, Malta, at the studio there. Some exteriors were shot at the Gulf of Mexico, and some things at Sincita Studios in Rome. Filmed April 22nd and May, April and May, I guess, 1988. Release date March 17th, 1989. Budget $25 million and box office was $15.7 million.
Not good.
These folks are perched on the hull of a wrecked Soviet freighter in an underwater mining facility. A team of deep sea miners led by head oceanographer Steven Beck comes face to face with a mutant creature that's the product of a failed genetic experiment.
See, I wouldn't say they failed
Movie.
so much. They just didn't utilize it correctly.
Yeah,
It was a
looks
successful.
like they did a pretty good job. To
Yeah,
me.
it was a wildly successful experiment. It just, maybe they shouldn't have done it, but I think they succeeded.
If they wanted the subject to take over. But anyway,
Right.
and here in this picture is Amanda Pays as Williams. They call her Willie, didn't they?
Willie.
A lot of times in her underwater mining garb. Kind of like the effects on this thing. So,
Yeah.
Yep.
yeah. So very quickly before we get too much farther, there was a glut of underwater pictures coming out.
Oh,
Chad, what
yeah.
were you saying about that? Why was that so?
Well, Cameron had the Abyss under wraps. Nobody knew anything about it. He kept it pretty secret, and so. But a lot of studios knew he was doing an underwater picture, and they didn't know if it would have monsters. They didn't know what it was going to be about. So this big glut of sci-fi movies came out that tried to beat him to the punch.
So there were 6 underwater horror / science fiction movies came out in '89. One of them in 1990, and so I just kind of wanted to look them up and see what the deal was. And The Abyss just blew everybody else away.
Well, and not just in terms of box office, but quality too. This is pretty much, I think, the order that I would put them in.
Yeah.
And The Abyss
It's been a long
way
time
ahead.
since I saw The Abyss, but yeah. And that's, written and directed by Cameron, starring Ed Harris, Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio, and Michael Bean. Leviathan, 15.2 million. Deep Star 6, 8.1. And these other 3 at the bottom had no information whatsoever.
Direct to video.
The second from the bottom, Lords of the Deep, was a Roger Corman film, and he got Bradford Dillman and Priscilla Barnes to
There you go.
participate in that. The Rift had R. Lee Ermey and Ray Wise and Jack Scalia. So not a bad cast, but
yeah.
Anyway.
But you can see why there was never Leviathan 2 or Deep Star 7. These.
Well, if it actually lost $10 million,
That's bad.
But I liked the movie.
Me too. I did too.
Anyway, before we give everything away.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, let's go to taglines.
Oh,
taglines.
Crap! I thought we were going to get around it this time.
Nope.
No.
I was even willing to let Crystal go first again on this one. If I didn't have to read taglines. Okay.
You know how the rules work.
Okay. Tagline number 1: Aliens thrilled you, the fly shocked you. Now experience real fear.
Okay.
Okay. 2 movies had nothing to do with this one. But all
The
right.
realest fear available.
Aliens is this movie does kind of make me feel like it's like aliens underwater. Like it has the same. They're trapped in this area.
Yeah.
That's the only way though.
And
that's
the body
probably
horror of the fly.
That's probably that's probably what they thought Cameron was going to go for.
Yeah.
Aliens underwater, so they tried to beat him to the punch, and he swerved.
Yeah, I did.
Okay, tagline 2: How long can you hold your breath?
It depends who you're sitting next to in the theater.
Fair enough.
That's the dumbest tagline.
It
It
is.
wasn't very much.
I haven't read them all yet, so I take that.
You know what that's like? That's like in space, no one can hear you scream. How long?
Yeah.
Sort of there.
See?
Welcome to your worst nightmare. Welcome to Leviathan.
I swear we've had this tagline before. They just changed the last word.
Yeah.
Probably.
Well, welcome to your worst nightmare. Welcome to Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants. Whatever. You just put the movie right in there.
In whatever room that the tagline writers work, I feel like there's a refrigerator with those magnets phrases on it. And they just pull them and use them over and over again.
Yeah.
It will leave you gasping for air.
Ergo, the other question, how long can you hold your breath?
Yeah.
So they kind of...
They should have put them together.
You'll be gasping.
One big crappy tagline. The true meaning of fear.
This was when they got back notes saying nobody knows how to even pronounce Leviathan, much less what it means.
Oh my gosh!
Nobody reads the Bible. Okay.
Well, welcome to Leviathan. Leviathan was the name of the ship, so
right.
And the ship's underwater. Well, that makes no sense. Welcome to the sunken ship Leviathan.
Okay. Well, let's at this point.
Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
And this one is Chad's pick. So,
way to go, Chad!
When did you first see this, and what are you thinking about it now?
I saw it in the theater, and even though I thought it was derivative of 20 other science fiction horror films like Alien and but the body horror of like The Thing and stuff like that. I still enjoyed it. It was kind of a fun movie. I don't think it took itself too seriously. There was a lot of comedic moments in there that I really liked. I loved all the actors. The actors were great. It was an awesome cast. What sealed the deal for me was when Meg Foster says, "I know you've been through hell," and Ernie Hudson goes, "Gone through, bitch, we still in it."
He did.
That made the movie for me. I love that. I love that, and I love that humor at that particular time. It was good. The creature I thought was just nasty looking, and the whole concept behind it was just nasty and icky and gooey and creepy. And I've heard a lot of people talk about how they didn't show the creature a lot. It was always in the dark and this and that. But I don't know. I think they kind of saved that for the end, reveal. I always felt like, but yeah, they didn't really show enough active transformation like that they did. It looked like little pieces or sculptures laying on a table and that kind of thing. So, but it was really good. I love it. I love this movie. It's cheesy. It's fun. It's just a goofy time at the movies, and I still love it today. I loved watching it this time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Miss Crystal, how about you?
So, I did see this movie a long time ago. I mean, on television or something. I don't remember what it was, but I liked it then, and I still like it. Like, I actually think the effects are pretty good. I don't even think it's all that cheesy. I think the story, I think it's definitely a higher caliber, like 80s movie. I mean, there's so much that's so bad that I feel like, oh, this is super legit. Mm-hmm. It's like classy.
Well, you can't go wrong with Peter Weller.
Yeah, exactly. And I love him. I mean, and I think all the actors are phenomenal. I think they all did a great job. I think the story is compelling and it makes sense. And I mean, I even like the little sharks at the end. That came out of nowhere. I don't know. Is it the best movie? No. Did I love The Abyss? Yes. Did I love The Abyss more? Yes. Just because it was even higher quality. Mm-hmm. But this is a great movie. It's one of the better underwater movies. I know those are so hard to do. I enjoyed this one. I mean, I don't have a lot to fault for it. I mean, I think it makes sense how they spread the disease. They had the vodka. Like I can't say anything bad about it. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm just easy. Because I like a lot of these. I'm like,
you might want to edit that part out, Jeff.
Yeah.
But I think this is actually a pretty stellar one, personally. But I get it. I guess I can't see why someone wouldn't like it. I know you don't like it, Bill, but I don't know what's bad about it. I think it's pretty good.
Well, he's going to tell us.
Well, let's find out.
Yeah.
I don't hate it. I don't actively dislike it. So here's the thing. I thought that I'd seen this movie before. And then as I'm watching, I realized, no, I saw Deep Star 6 more often than I should admit to. And eventually it puzzled me because I kept seeing pictures of the monster here, and it's like, I do not recall seeing that in the movie. And then I realized I don't recall anything from Deep Star 6 other than the kick-ass poster. So I finally got to see it, and I like it way more than Deep Star 6. It's my second favorite underwater movie of that year, but that's not saying a whole lot because The Abyss is so much better.
Yeah.
My problem with this, there's a lot of good here. It's well made, it's well shot. The director, did Rambo. He knew what he was doing. They have Stan Winston doing the effects. You can't go wrong there.
Mm-hmm.
But watching it, I just felt like I was watching a movie that was so derivative of other better movies. The body horror was very reminiscent of The Thing, but not a patch on The Thing's ass. The whole underwater aspect is very much like The Abyss, but it's not as good as The Abyss. Cameron's a visionary director. You're gonna have a hard time keeping up with that. But I was, with it, as long as in the end I'd get to see this really cool monster. And I think that's where my, not so great fondness of this movie is. I didn't think the payoff was worth it. The monster's a great design. I mean, he's really cool. It's kind of like The Thing in that all the various parts or the components are blended into this creature. But it either didn't move as well as they needed it to, which I find surprising because it's Stan Winston, or for whatever reason they edited it. The editing seems very choppy at the end, where we're deliberately only being given little bits and pieces, which kind of screams we don't have confidence in our monster. And I don't know why, because again, Stan Winston's a genius, and he said they had a great time making this movie and they were given a lot of freedom. I think it may just come down to the big problem is no one should ever make a movie set in the ocean. I don't know how many times this lesson has to be learned. Damn near killed everyone on The Abyss. Of course, James Cameron learned nothing from this because I guess the next two Avatar movies take place in the ocean, but maybe it's all CGI or something. It's brutal. You're only at any point you're a minute away from drowning.
Mm-hmm.
No matter how good your animatronic creature is, salt water is like acid kryptonite to gears and electronics. So, I can just imagine everything breaking down. It's just a hard thing to deal with. So, I don't know. To me, it's a little too formulaic. Like, if you don't know that Meg Foster's the bad guy within the first 11 seconds of the movie, come on. It's so obvious. Every beat that's going to happen. And there's not really any great mystery who's going to live and who's going to die. So there are not enough surprises in it. But as an entertaining 80s movie to watch, I mean, it's like a high-class Roger Corman movie with much better effects and production value. But I can see why it didn't necessarily hit. It doesn't linger in the mind. I don't feel compelled to go watch it again anytime soon, though I will watch it. Next time I have an itch to watch an underwater monster movie, it'll definitely be Leviathan and not Deep Star 6, which we'll probably get to someday. Better
pick
is Deep Star 6 has a great poster, one of the great posters that just makes you like, oh, I got to see how this happened. Whereas Leviathan's poster, artsy, and I appreciate that compared to what we have now, but not that much. It's just not to me, a memorable movie. And I don't know what they could have done to make it more so. I mean, it does what it's intended to do. Monster on the loose, set in a I don't know. I feel like there's something missing. And I'll tell you, you look at the screenwriters. These screenwriters did some great stuff. The actors, I can't fault them. The director made some movies that made a ton of money. All the parts are there for what could be a classic, and it's not a classic. And I'm not 100% sure I can articulate why. Worth seeking out. Definitely worth seeking out. I don't hate this movie at all, but I don't love it as much as everybody else here does, and I don't blame you for loving it. There's plenty of reasons too, I guess.
I feel like it's for that same reason that they didn't have confidence in it because they didn't really know what Cameron was going to do. So they started maybe second guessing themselves about, what to do and everything. That's what I always thought.
I kind of wish they'd gone a little more body horror. I mean, there's like the whole thing with the hand with the teeth is so cool.
So cool.
There's no reason then they really couldn't have gone if you're going to rip off the thing, rip off the thing. Why didn't we have more scenes where they don't know who's infected and who isn't? And because this thing apparently can do just about anything it wants to do. So
yeah, so I like this a lot too, and I'm not going to argue about the overall quality. I just think it's a really fun movie, but I think it looks good. The monster I think looks good. I would have liked to seen more of it, but I'm not sure I wanted a whole lot more, because sometimes you see too much of it, it starts to break down, and some of the scariest parts in Alien are when you're just getting flashes of it, and it is so alien that seeing parts of it doesn't. You can see lots of different parts, and you still don't have a good idea of the whole. And I think this was kind of like that. But I had a lot of fun with it. I love the cast. I love the interaction between those characters. They acted. I believed that they had spent 6 months together underwater.
Yeah.
They knew each other's buttons to push and that kind of stuff. I don't know. Peter Weller I thought was really good. They were all really good. So I also thought it was like a combination of Alien and the Thing underwater. You had that blending of the bodies and whatever that creature was, and that I would have liked to seen a little more of. You kind of get the idea from that scene on the table, and then there's later when the creature's walking around and you see a face on it, but it's easy to miss that. It's not. I didn't think it was really prominent, but I just had a great time with it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and the whole idea of the Russian ship, and then they find. I kind of like this story. They find the Russian ship, and then they look it up, and it says, "Oh, this ship is still running in the Baltic Sea," and they're going, "What?" So,
unless it's a submarine,
So, and then the way that they got sick, I don't know. There was just some great scenes there, so we could talk about those here.
I could totally see people drinking poison vodka. Although, because I've had Russian vodka. I worked in a laboratory once with a Russian scientist, and at the end of this is back during the Cold War, when Russia and the U.S. didn't like each other. Thank God those days are over. But at the end of the day, at the end of his term, he brought out some Russian caviar, which was amazing, some Russian sardines, which tasted like every sardine I've ever had, but everyone insisted were the best sardines they've ever had, and some Russian vodka. And I'm not a big vodka fan, but this stuff was smooth. Like you could drink it out of the bottle without anything in it, not even gummy bears. And it was smooth. You could say, I can see why people get plastered on this stuff. Russian vodka is amazing. So if it's been sitting there underwater, chilled to just the right temperature. Maybe they should have put a yellow sticky note on it or saying, "Do not drink, contains recombinant DNA monster material." But, I could totally see them breaking protocol and drinking that stuff.
So this is the poster you were talking about, and it's just, it's a great poster, but that image needs to be almost twice as big.
It is way bigger. There's so much black space, and you can't really tell what's going on there. It looks like two people falling down a waterfall.
And I think the black space, I see the intent.
I get the art. It's and listen, I give credit to anyone who makes a poster that isn't just Morgan Freeman, even if he's not in the movie. And he's in blue and someone else is in amber, and it's just two big giant floating heads. I appreciate any art here. And probably the fact that this movie did not make any money is another reason why we don't have anything like this.
Yeah, and I don't the people involved with this, you mentioned George Cosmatos. Is that it?
Cosmatos.
That was freaking me out for a minute. I was like, wait a minute, is this poster like animated? Because I'm seeing little blue lights. It's the stuff that Crystal has that kind of blends in behind it. You're like, that actually works pretty well. Yeah.
Nice. That'd be cool.
That's what we need. So he did do Rambo 2. He did Cobra.
Tombstone.
He did
Tombstone is a good movie.
Big
Yeah.
deal.
Mhm.
Yeah. And interesting, he didn't direct a lot of movies.
No, I noticed that I'm okay. This one didn't make a lot of money, but he made movies that did and are well regarded. I don't know why he stopped. Although I think he's dead now, and that obviously puts a crimp in things. But just I don't know. I bet this was a hard shoot
Yeah.
because it takes place in the water. It takes place in another country, so you're trying to explain to people who don't speak your language, and they're talking to you in their language. And meanwhile, there's an extra who's drowning. I mean, it just sounds like a nightmare to shoot a movie like this.
Well, anybody that knows anything about this, let me know, because it says that they shot that there were very few scenes that were actually shot underwater. That they did a dry for wet look. So they did things like, I guess they walked around in those suits with a filter of some kind, and then they had, I think it said something about fine chicken feathers floating in the air, looked like matter in the water. And
Really?
then they
That's
slow
interesting.
motioned it a little bit. I'm just going.
That's cool.
That sounds absolutely nuts. But I remember a very good filmmaker, Brett Mullen, made a movie, and the opening scene takes place in this snowfall. And then I later found out the snowfall was just, Bloody Ballet. The snowfall was soap bubbles from a soap bubble machine. I'm like, what? And you go back and look at it again. It's like, no, it looks like snow to me. So tricksters, chicken feathers.
So I don't know. That surprised me because I never once thought they weren't underwater. But
I was fooled.
And I, my brain was going, let's see, would those suits hold up under 16,000 feet? I don't know. But anyway, they were pretty sturdy looking.
Good thing, because apparently if there's a hole the size of the other Jeff's dick, your whole body is going to get crammed into your, and I was saying this, listen, if you have a line like that in the movie, there's got to be a payoff. I sat through that whole movie. This is part of my disappointment. I sat through that whole movie waiting to see someone get their entire body squeezed up into their helmet, because they told me that's what would happen. And there's plenty of opportunity for small dick-sized holes to appear in their suits throughout this entire movie, and no one got their body squeezed into the helmet. Don't make promises you can't keep.
So, and the cinematographer, Alex Thompson, said that the chicken feathers didn't really work because they didn't move the right way.
But does it move like in the water, though?
Well, they just need things in there that give it a 3D effect, I think.
Yeah.
And speaking of Alex Thompson, he was nominated for an Oscar for Excalibur.
Oh, you know what? I can see that. I actually can see that. And that may have taken a little bit away from this movie. It's very clean looking. And which is fine, except when we're getting this grody body transformation thing, I think maybe something just a little gushier and messier and everything.
Yeah.
But everything's got that kind of beautiful candy apple, if apples were blue, look. I think it's a really well shot film. Take nothing away from that. I think it's really good looking, and that helps. This doesn't look like a cheap monster movie.
Right.
It's got production value up the wazoo. And Excalibur is one of my favorite movies. The way it's shot and everything is great. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we got to do that one someday.
Well, did you guys notice on the suit? And I think it was when DeJesus had his crisis towards the beginning. You had you had that display inside the suit that they could see. At some point, the danger sign was a skull and crossbones.
Yeah, I saw that.
Really?
That's what you're gonna
use? That's sort of like kiss your.
That'll keep him calm.
Yeah. That's what you want to see.
I'm hopeful on calm. Yeah. So anyway, and then also we had Jerry Goldsmith did the music. So good.
Nothing wrong there.
Involved all the way around. Well, let's take a look at some of the cast. Those are, you got Peter Weller in the middle.
Yeah.
And he does a good job, I think, of being sort of like, I'm not I'm not used to being in charge, but I know
I'm
what
out
I'm
of
doing.
my depth here.
Yeah.
Out of my depth. I see what you did there.
And Ernie Hudson
He's a good actor. He's a good actor. I mean, he doesn't look like a stereotypical action hero. He's not, he's not muscles on top of muscles or physically intimidating, but he's got an intensity to him, and it works. It works as that sort of regular kind of guy. I mean, regular guy in the sense of a guy who, if Crystal saw him walking down the street, she'd conk him on the head and throw him into the back of the seat.
He's not regular.
No.
He's not conventional.
For Hollywood,
Yeah.
he's what passes for an ordinary guy, right?
He's got a look. I don't know. Those eyes, I think a lot of it's the
he's
eyes.
intense.
Yeah. Well, he's not like Newman or Redford or something like that. But he's got a.
He was RoboCop, damn it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
See, and
he's Buckaroo Banzai.
That's right.
So this comes after those. So he'd already kind of hit the sort of the cult movie, and
he can do a villain well too. So I mean, he's got a lot of range, and one of those actors who, as he's gotten older, has been able to go with the flow and still perform, knock out a good performance.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Ernie Hudson, who I think never has gotten his due.
No,
agreed.
Been in a lot of great movies.
Mm-hmm.
The Crow, Ghostbusters. He's been in a lot of good movies, but he never got that.
He's underrated because again, when you put them all together and you're like, oh, Ernie Hudson, he did Ghostbusters, and then not so much. And they got no, not true. He's in a lot of stuff, but he's not an actor. And I don't mean this in a bad way. It's really a good way. It's why I'd hire him. He doesn't take over the film to the point it's like, oh, it's an Ernie Hudson movie. No, he plays the role. He plays the character.
Yeah.
He delivers. He works for the story, which is why I imagine filmmakers like working with him. It may not make you a superstar, instantly recognizable, and add a couple of more zeros at the end of the paycheck, but he's still working. And I can see why, because he's good. He is good.
And he's beloved. Whatever he's in, people love it.
That's the other thing. He seems like someone. I've never heard a bad Ernie Hudson story.
Yeah.
I've heard some bad stories about other actors of that time who went on to big things and superstardom and everything else. I've never heard anyone say anything bad about him. Mm-hmm. So I think he's an unsung hero. And
50 credits.
Yeah, good for him.
Wow.
That's a lot.
So Ernie, if you're ever at a convention, if we can get to you, drinks on me. Because I'll bet also he's got some good stories to tell. Just seems like it. Yeah. I got that feeling. Mm-hmm.
But he's still making appearances in Ghostbusters, the new ones. And...
Yeah.
Anyway, and then Amanda Pays, who I thought did a good job in here, but I don't know that much about her.
No, when I looked her up, I expected to see a whole lot more than what I saw. And it seems like it kind of sort of ended.
To her? Yeah, that's weird.
I think she married someone famous. Was it Corbin Benson or
Corbin Burnson?
Corbin Burnson, yeah.
Burnson. I think she did, and maybe just got out of the rat race and raised kids and everything. And she's good.
She still looks exactly the same. She was in the Flash TV series back.
Yes, that's right.
She's still working.
Yeah.
She just hasn't, she just didn't do heavy years. If I go back through,
she was good in the Flash. The Flash was another underrated show.
Yeah, it was.
She did a lot of stuff in the 90s.
I guess so. There was a show. There was a Flash show.
Yeah.
Not talking about the one.
Not the new one on CW.
No. Although on the CW, the actor who plays the Flash's father played the Flash in this original show, and it's really it's one of those unsung movies because shows, because really you look at it and you're like, this is like the template for what would eventually become superhero movies. The costume was phenomenal. Apparently cost $1 gazillion to make.
But she is on the new Flash show.
Mm-hmm.
She is? Okay. So she's on a new
early.
one.
Well, I think 2014 to 2016.
Right.
How long that's been going?
Forever.
Has that been going on? No. It's been on like 7 years.
Yeah.
something like
It's
that.
been on for a
But
long time.
2004.
I thought
No,
it was still going.
I think it is. Maybe she also did some voices for the various Flash cartoon appearances.
Oh
Maybe that's what that is. Because I'm like,
Yeah.
no,
hasn't
this
been around
is
since
No, I
live
feel like
action.
the Flash has been on way longer than anyone thinks. Those CW
Well,
shows.
it started in 2014.
Yes, that's what I'm
Okay, so
saying.
that's
Not
it.
2004.
2000.
Right.
Yeah.
14, yeah, 14 to 16. But then
Oh, you
he was
said.
also.
I swear he said 2004.
Oh, okay. Okay,
I
no.
was like, that's why I was like.
But she was also, and she plays a doctor. But in the one back in 1990, she was also in that too.
Okay. That makes a lot more sense.
So she's
She was
got
in
about 40 credits.
Rambo Part 2, Cobra, some Sylvester
Oh, well,
Stallone
that might
films.
explain
Mhm.
Cosmatos.
Yeah.
Those are both movies he did.
Well, I think no. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I might be thinking of.
Oh, you're thinking of Lisa Eilbacher.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll take a look at her. Yeah, I'm looking. I'm not seeing those there. Did the X-Files. So she's doing stuff in a couple of series that didn't make it. The Thief Takers. Anyway.
She was fine in this.
Yeah, she was good in this.
No, I thought she was good.
They had a
We
good
also
chemistry. Her and Peter Weller had a pretty good
And now the people in the red shirts.
Pretty much. Daniel Stern, who, he could have been kept around a little longer just for comic relief, but
Yeah.
he wasn't really contributing.
You knew he was dead from the minute he opened his pie hole. It's like, this
Yeah,
guy
yeah.
dies. Totally dies.
And he's the one who said the line, Chad, right at the beginning about the hole the size of
Right.
size of your dick.
Yeah.
Prevert.
Yeah. They did kill him too soon because you need the panicky, comic relief. Game over, man. Game over. That they needed him. He almost gets away, and then next thing you know, he's just ripped in half. That should have been his fate, but no, he shuffled off pretty quickly.
Well, he's still acting, but he's also done he's directed a few things. A bunch of episodes of The Wonder Years. And of course, I
Home Alone
remember
is
from
best known
City
for.
Slickers and Home Alone. Yeah. And I think, wasn't he in Breaking Away? I'm scrolling. Yes. That was his first film. And that's, for me, that's
Breaking Away with Matthew Modine. Was that Matthew Modine or Dennis Christopher?
Dennis Christopher and
Yeah,
Dennis
yeah.
Quaid had a small part in it. But
That movie was huge. Doesn't get talked about much, but yeah, that was a big.
It's weird. I saw that. I can't remember what the deal was, but I went to the theater to see a movie, and then they just sort of said, it's the very first sort of like advanced screening I saw of something. And they didn't advertise or anything. They said, here's this movie. And it was Breaking Away, and I had a good time with it. And Jackie Earl Haley was in that.
Yeah.
So that's the first time I saw Daniel Stern, because he's just great at playing those oddball, off-kilter characters.
Movies they don't make like that anymore.
I'm trying to think, what else? Is there other genre stuff he was in? Not seeing much.
I don't have access to.
I'm sure somebody will give us a hard time.
How did you forget he was a werewolf in?
Do not have mentioned.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's enough. He's got 70 of those. So Lisa Eilbacher.
Now, where do I know her from?
I don't know. She gets
Depend on you guys. I feel like I've seen her.
villain.
She used to be on the Logan's Run TV show.
Oh, okay.
The old Amazing Spider-Man TV show. I think she was in Officer and a Gentleman.
Okay.
She
Beverly
was one
Hills
of the.
Cop.
She was the one in Officer and a Gentleman who couldn't get through the obstacle course.
Oh.
And was getting yelled at by Lou Gossett Jr.
Wow. Spider-Man TV series.
Logan's Run, the TV show. God, I watched every episode of that piece of crap. Back in the days when sci-fi shows they were always sent to Friday night to die.
Yeah.
And they took whatever premise they could and basically turned it into The Fugitive. And they were terrible and didn't last long. And I was like, oh, I'm going to die and never see science fiction or fantasy treated well on TV. Well, thank God I was wrong.
Oh, she was on the old Shazam Saturday morning TV show. She must have been a kid then.
She was 8 years old when she had her first credit, which was, I think, an episode of Wagon Train, wasn't it?
I thought it was Gunsmoke, or was it Gunsmoke?
Wagon Train in 1964.
Because I know she was on Gunsmoke too as a little kid.
Looks like a bunch of them. Bonanza.
Well, she's good in this. You feel bad when she dies. It's pretty miserable.
Yeah, she is good in this, and she has a great comeback where Six Pack. And now, wait a minute. Six Pack's real name is Buzz. Now, why does a guy named Buzz need another name?
For real.
Yeah.
I agree.
Anyway, so Six Pack's makes some crack about what a pair, and then he thinks he's being cute, comes up with some other reason, and she calls him on it.
Yeah.
Oh, she was in The Man from Atlantis too on an episode.
Oh my gosh, she just ran the gamut of all the bad sci-fi.
My favorite trash sci-fi show of all time.
Oh, that was great. Yeah, I liked it when he fought the seahorse monster.
Yeah, that was
it shows there's no way to make a seahorse look scary.
And then
the man,
Richard Crenna. I was gonna
Luke McCoy.
Yes. I was going to pull up one of his because he was just played this sort of goofy.
He usually talked like this and played a kind of a goofy country bumpkin type.
You guys ever see The Real McCoys?
No.
Walter Brennan and.
Oh yeah.
It's a TV series back in the late 50s or early 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of those ones that actually it was syndicated a lot. There were these shows that no one's ever heard of now, like Hazel and The Real McCoys. They were on.
You'd see them on TBS at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
And
you got nothing better to do. It's a half an hour before the 4:30 movie comes on. So sure, I'll watch an episode of The Real McCoy.
Yeah. Too bad Doc's not here to do his Walter Brennan.
Oh gosh.
Are you serious?
Oh yeah, he does a great Walter Brennan.
Now, is Richard Crenna is no longer with us now.
I've always liked Richard Crenna.
Yeah,
he was a solid guy.
Part 2.
Yeah. Which was actually, to dig even deeper into that, it was actually supposed to be Kirk Douglas in that role.
Really?
Oh, really? From the first one?
Yeah. But Kirk Douglas tried to come in and rewrite the whole thing, and he thought Rambo should die at the end, and they didn't want to kill Rambo, so he just went.
Good move.
Took off. So
he was actually in Wait Until Dark.
Oh, okay. He was a good actor. He was a likable actor. I mean, I think one of the bravest roles he ever had, a TV movie called The Rape of Richard Beck.
I remember that.
And you're like, okay, 1985, they didn't even talk about, rape was almost a taboo subject, and a rape of a male. Like, wow, that was super shocking. That got a lot of attention, and pretty brave. Now, he also made some real crap like Devil Dog, The Hound from Hell.
Yeah,
you got to pay the bills. You go down the list, and every year he's got 4 or 5 things going on, and some were good, some were not. He was in a really fun series called All's Fair, a Norman Lear show that one of those rare didn't hit. It was unsuccessful. It was him and oh my gosh, I cannot remember who now. Bernadette Peters, I think.
Oh, that was All's Fair.
Yeah, it was a good
Yeah.
show, and it was
Mhm.
political without being strident, and I thought it was fair to both sides, and that's not what people were going for, or got put in a bad place, who knows. But he was good. He's just a likable everyman kind of character, but had a certain gravitas about him. Just good stuff.
He won
Good
best
actor.
performance by an actor in the Rape of Richard Beck. A Golden Globe. Yeah.
Oh, they had to recognize the balls it took to take
Yeah.
that role.
And he won an Emmy for it too.
Hmm.
Both for best performance.
And he also did quite a bit of directing.
Mm-hmm.
Had 17 credits, mostly TV movies and TV episodes.
We lost Crystal.
Oh no!
She was getting bored anyway.
Yeah. Oh wow, we really lost her. Just an empty chair. There she is.
Oh, I thought y'all were all just talking. Did y'all stop?
Yeah.
I didn't think y'all were gonna
Yeah,
stop.
Well, I
just
saw
thought
you were
about it.
gone. I didn't.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Your
Oh, that's
absence.
okay. Y'all
stunned
were
us.
talking just fine. So I was like, okay, I'll just let them continue. And I was gonna actually cut my video, but I thought that might be more distracting.
Yeah, then we'd be worried. Here's some gushy stuff,
Yeah,
and
but-
it's really well made.
I
I just
agree.
think it's a little too clean.
Yeah, that's what I feel. I feel it could have been a little more visceral, and I don't know. I know there were a lot of those in the thing where you just got this thing where they uncover the body from the camp, and it's just a big sculpture laying there. But I felt like with these folks, it could have been a little more alive than it
Yeah.
was. But
Maybe
I'm not downing it. It's a beautiful, piece of special effects.
Oh, especially it's shot so well, but it's a little dark, and that's what it should be given the scene and everything. But if it's going to be like that, if we're not seeing too much, ramp up the Cronenberg a little. Let's see some yellow matter custard or something dribbling out here.
Yellow magic.
Yellow matter custard.
Well, they do. There are some light touches here. There's like the scene where she's getting sick, Bowman, and she I can't remember if she scratches her neck or if she just turns, and you see there's like these little scales on her neck. It'd be easy to miss,
Right.
It's subtle, and it's
Yeah, we don't need
Well
cabin
done.
fever or the leg shaving scene, but just a little, just a little more, just a touch
little
more.
bit more.
A little dab will do you.
Little dabble. Yeah.
And you felt so bad for her. I mean, when her hair started falling out, she kind of knew she knew what was happening. She knew, and so she went into where Six Pack was and just sort of joined with him, I guess. But it was just a sad scene too.
She killed herself in the shower.
Yeah.
And then they apparently put her body next to him.
Good move.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
She went in and she tried to talk to Six Pack, and she saw the scene on the
arm.
first picture there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that's when she decided.
She knew. Yeah, she knew what was going to happen to her.
She went out on her own terms. So.
Yeah, and the next two shots are when they're going together, and then, Richard Crenna and Peter Weller's characters make the fatal mistake of not telling the rest of the guys what's going on. All you had to do was give them a look at that, and nobody would have balked about throwing her off the station. And if they'd have started moving, they would have all freaked out and moved faster instead of, they're alive, they're alive. Anyway, I like it. So that centerpiece, the hand, that was
it
My
was a great
favorite.
shot.
Mhm.
Yeah, it was well done.
Well, the first time you see that, it's they throw the one off. I guess it's in the I don't know, on a spaceship you'd call it the airlock. I guess it's in a water lock or something. But, and then it chops off the one like a foot or something. And then that thing crawls around, and then I don't know. Apparently, it turns into that giant eel-looking thing that bites the Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just cool the way they showed the stages of that. I could get what was going on, and he was up a creek in a hurry. So
A crick.
Yeah.
up shit's creek.
There we see the final version of the monster with the various bodies and things.
Yeah, 2 arms.
I love how the faces were still like, help me, like they knew, they were cognizant of what was going on, but they couldn't do
So
anything. It was just creepy.
There's the callback to The Fly. You know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And the main head of the creature does have a cool look, that undersea, those horrifying fish that live in the depths of the ocean
with the nightlight on their foreheads.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like,
one of them,
The anglerfish.
anglerfish.
God's nightmare. Yeah, they're so that's something that doesn't get used much.
Something similar to that swims past Willie when she's in the Russian ship.
Yeah.
Right. It scares her. But those things are freaky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Giant jaws, and they just basically
enormous eyes, teeth that are
open their mouth and it just inhale you in.
It's like they can't even close their mouths; they're full of teeth. And they had, like Crystal said, they got that little light thing just to add to the horror, just so you know.
That's what attracts the
right.
fish. Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, no one would go anywhere within 100 miles of anything that ugly. So they're cool, and you can never see them in an aquarium because it's impossible to bring them up without them turning themselves inside out from the lack of pressure. So they're these mysterious monsters that live on our planet, and we know so little about them. So yeah, it's a cool premise, a cool design, nature's own horror that you don't see incorporated into movies very much.
Yeah.
So it's a neat look. And, again, the thing, I guess when I hear Stan Winston made a monster for a movie, I immediately go to Pumpkinhead.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Where we see Pumpkinhead, we see every inch of Pumpkinhead, and he's walking around and doing stuff and everything. And you're like, wow, this is amazing.
Yeah.
You don't have to show any fancy edits and cuts and everything. You can have a nice long shot of Pumpkinhead just walking around because, I kind of expect that's what I'm kind of going for. Now, you stick Pumpkinhead in the ocean, he probably immediately falls into about 17 different pieces and gears and everything floating up to the surface. So I kind of get why we didn't get the full thing here.
Well, and you never know. I mean, there's so many movies we read about that. They were planning to do this, but they ran out of money before they got to the end or something. You just never know for sure.
They sent gorilla suits instead of werewolf suits. Something goes wrong.
Yeah. Well, and speaking of the creature, do you see who the suit actor was?
No, who was it?
Tom Woodruff?
The Harry and the Hendersons guy? Oh, who's
Tom Woodruff? Well, he was also Winston. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, he's one of Winston's guys. He played Pumpkinhead.
Okay.
He was the actor in the Pumpkinhead suit and some of the aliens in the Alien films too.
And a brave man, because you get put in this thing, your actual mobility is pretty limited. I'm guessing this weighs a lot of stuff that is then put in the water. And they're like, hey, don't you worry, man. If we see more bubbles coming up than we expected, we'll know to pull you right up. And you're like, okay, sure. Tell my wife I love her very much.
So yeah, he was wow. He was an actor in Aliens, I think, but Pumpkinhead, Leviathan, Tremors. He played a graboid in Tremors.
Okay.
Fun.
Yeah.
Alien 3.
He was a little skinny little guy. Yeah.
Yeah, running around like a greyhound.
It's fun looking at his credits because, like in Hollow Man, he plays Isabel the gorilla. It's 7 Days, a TV series. He plays Kiki the gorilla.
Oh,
Chicago Hope, he plays Stevie the gorilla.
Stevie the gorilla. Not even.
In X-Files, he plays Creature 1.
He and Alec Gillis have, I think it's Amalgamated Dynamics, the effects house. Yeah.
So if you can't get Rick Baker to play a gorilla, get this guy. One of the problems, I think one of the things that takes away from this, it's a great design. I mean, it looks super cool in stills and everything. When it's moving, the problem with a creature like this that is such a mishmash of different things and everything is that you're not really 100% sure where your eye is supposed to go. When it's got 3 arms, you don't really know which arm to look at. It takes away. Whereas with Pumpkinhead, it's humanoid, misshapen, and monstrous and everything, but you get the rules that it lives by. This, it's hard to know where to look.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
It's a great design.
Was kind of a fish too, or something, because it was.
There's a lot in
it.
there.
Seemed like there was. When you'd see the lower part of the body, there just wasn't any distinct legs or anything, but maybe you would see a tail or something coiled around. I don't know. Some of these other pictures, it looks like it's standing up, but they're out in the middle of the ocean. So
right. So they're in the middle of the ocean. What's it standing on exactly?
Right.
It's not. It's using its fins. Yeah. Its tail.
Is it like Flipper? It's like moving its tail around, waiting for someone to throw a fish into its mouth.
Well, I figure if people can tread water, certainly a fish monster could.
I guess. Sure.
That's my story.
Yeah.
Was it me too, or did the rate of infection increase as the movie went on? Because it seemed like it took a long time for Six Pack to change, and
it was kind of overnight. It took a little while for Bowman. But I thought it was like the next day, because they start right off.
Well, Krenna had just been infected by Hector Elizondo here, and the next shot we see he's struggling through the halls and something's
You're right.
moving around.
Krenna, I'll buy that with Krenna. Yeah.
He's old. His immune system isn't as strong. Got overwhelmed.
I can't fight off the fish germs.
The creature just drank all the blood, so it was.
And Six Pack probably had 4 times the amount of vodka as everybody else, so he had like a super dose.
I'm sure he got much more than Bowman did. So you got some behind the scenes stuff here. So I assume that's concept art.
Yeah.
Oh, so you can kind of see the.
It kind of just turns into a big ugly mess below the waist.
So they filmed it. It looks like right off the shore, pretty much, which is smart.
Sure. Yeah, less distance to go to the morgue.
Some wind machines
or
something to get the water turbulent.
And again, Stan Winston said that they had a great time making this movie, that it was a rare time where the director basically, said, hey, you guys know what you're doing and I don't. So do that voodoo you do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's got to feel good, because I'm sure Winston had lots of stories of directors who would just ask for impossible things that can't be physically done in our universe by the rules of God and nature, and then get upset when you're not able to do this on a cut budget. So it probably feels real good to get someone who sort of understands that.
Cool stuff.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, you've been kind of quiet. What did you got anything to say about the actors, or you can't just let me, Bill, and Chad talk, because we will.
Yeah.
I'm like,
got anything to say about the actors, or
the actors were fabulous. I did say that.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they did wonderful. I think that the effects were great. I think that's really interesting, watching how it was filmed. I'd love to see more of that, like how close they are.
Mm-hmm.
And is that like a fake half of a Coast Guard chopper or something too? I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah. Huh. But why would they use that? I'm trying to think about how it was filmed. Did they have a spot where they had the half? Well, I would like to know about the sharks. How they had the sharks, because it looked like that was real. And they were around people, it looked like, for real.
Well, that and
could
I
have been
kind of hitting.
What? Yeah, that seemed kind of unnecessary. I didn't.
I liked it. I thought it was funny.
I thought it was supposed to divert your attention away from.
Yeah.
It's only sharks. Yeah, monster.
Yeah, it's like when the cat jumps out and then you find out the killer's actually there.
But those sharks would have freaking been scared off.
Run for the hills.
Knowing that monster was coming, they wouldn't have stayed long. Just saying.
Or assimilated.
Wonder how that would work.
Kind of go to final thoughts. Anything we want to say that we haven't said about this?
I felt bad that they killed off Ernie at the last possible moment.
I know.
Yeah, he made it all that way.
He made it, because I didn't remember who all made it, and I was like, "Oh, he made it! Yay!"
Well, he valiantly sacrificed himself.
Of course,
he didn't need to.
No.
Yeah.
because Beck shows up, tries
gets-
to do the classic line.
Right.
Say,
Right.
"Ah."
Everyone. Yeah. Everyone gets their chance to say one famous line right before the monster blows up. You know?
What did he say? Does anyone remember?
Say motherfucker.
Oh,
Say,
yeah.
"Ah, mother-"
It's so dumb. They're always dumb.
Yeah.
And
And then he
love
does
it,
the
though.
2-point throw.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know.
Smile, you son of a bitch. Say
Yeah.
motherfucker. Okay. Yeah.
that's what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they didn't seem too distraught over the fact that Ernie just died.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean,
They just walk in,
knowledge.
I need to go punch Meg Foster in the face. Let's walk this way.
She takes it well. I love Meg Foster. I love Meg Foster in any movie.
Yeah, me too. Her eyes are
Anytime.
amazing.
Her eyes are amazing. If you see her in real life, her
Yes.
eyes are amazing.
Yeah.
They're just like,
Yeah, she's the perfect. Her eyes are perfect for playing like somebody possessed. They'd have to like put like blue contact lenses in to start with, and then
take them away.
out
And
to show real eyes. It'd be
Yeah.
reversed. All right, I guess I'm glad you picked this, Chad. I enjoyed
Yeah,
this
Chad.
film,
it was
Yeah,
definitely
I
a
love
step
it.
up from some of the stuff we've had lately.
and you know, Crystal sort of hinted at the idea that we had to reschedule this a bunch of times, bunch of times. So it's going to be a little late coming out, not two, maybe a day or two.
What was that?
I hit my mic,
Ah.
so I didn't know if y'all could hear it. Sorry.
So
My bad.
So I watched this like 4 times, and it didn't bother me.
You watched it like 4 times?
Every time we rescheduled, I watched it the next.
Wow.
Because I have total no recall for
Total no recall. Yeah.
details. So anyway,
Quaid. It's a total recall.
all right. Ready for some feedback?
Yeah.
Oh, yay. Yeah.
All right.
It depends.
Well, we had a lot of feedback on Howling 2.
Oh boy.
Oh, no.
Some of which Crystal will appreciate.
Oh.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
I don't know.
What did I tell you guys as soon as we got off the air? We're gonna get mauled, and Crystal's gonna be like the hero of the whole show.
The
No.
greatest movie ever.
No, I doubt that.
So
No.
let's start off with Chad White, who says, "Great show, everyone. Looking forward to the next show." Let's see. Sunglasses.
That's very
and
safe,
thumbs up.
Chad. That's super safe. He played it really safe.
He did.
Like,
He
Yeah.
did.
that was a nice thing to say, which I appreciate.
Right.
But you played it very safe.
But then we have Mike Zatz.
Oh,
no.
yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
Oh, Mike.
Oh, no.
And I, Mike, we really appreciate your in-depth reviews and comments, but I have to. I had to edit it some because it was too long. But
Oh, it was
I
longer
had
than
to-
this? Okay.
Oh yeah. It was
Who wants to read this
Right,
one?
three-
I love it.
right 3 times longer than that. And who wants to read?
I'll read this one.
Mike Zatz. Okay.
Mike Zatz. WTF, 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 WTF is this expletive deleted? I have not seen this in almost 30 years, and I know why. Rewatch this again in preparation
Thank
for
you.
your podcast. He's blaming us. This, I can't even call it a film. I cannot comment on how totally inept this is. Other than Christopher Lee and the ever-watchable Sybil Danning, there is nothing on the positive side to say about this garbage. They tried really hard to tie this to the Joe Dante 1981 masterful original in the beginning, but failed miserably. Other than that, I had a good time with it.
What?
Jeff gets a Purple Heart or Medal of Honor for multiple viewings
I
of
know.
this werewolf duty.
Yeah.
Chad and Bill, stand your ground against the abomination. No, I don't mean Crystal. Sorry, Crystal, I love you. But come on! Please, never do anything as unwatchable as this ever again.
Boy,
Guys,
are you in for a surprise?
watch
Yeah,
out
right.
for her next pick. Communion, Chad, hell hath no fury. ...
Watch out for my next pick. Now I feel like I've been
Oh, yeah.
challenged.
Yeah, thanks,
Uh-oh.
Mike.
So
Maybe
The
like
next
Invaders from Mars or something.
I kind of like Invaders.
the next one is from Brian Clark, and I got to give you a little background on Brian. He was guest hosted on the Classic era for the I'm trying to think of the name of that movie. He used to be on a podcast called Attack of the Killer Podcasts.
Was it Qui-Gon?
He's also-
No, it
Yeah.
was the
No. It starts with a Y. Yokai Monsters.
Yokai.
Oh,
yeah.
Yokai Monster.
Yeah. And the one that we did was number 2, Yokai Monsters Spook Warfare. And I invited him on because he's like, he may be an even bigger kaiju fan than you, Bill. He's
Whoa.
Yay.
Wow.
he's just nuts into Japanese films of all kinds. He's
Well,
done
good
a
for him.
trip to Japan. He's got a picture of
Oh,
himself
nice.
Oh God, that would be
holding
awesome.
the original oxygen destroyer.
Oh, wow. He's a super fan. Yeah, that's awesome.
And
Good
he's
for him.
he's a writer. So anyway, I invited him to be on and gave him the pick, and he picked Yokai Monsters. But he resurfaces with a comment about Howling 2. Chad, you want to take Brian's?
Howling 2 is I can't read this track.
I'll read it. This one's mine. Yay!
Okay.
Okay, Brian. You know what you're talking about here, clearly.
Okay, keep reading.
Howling 2 is a masterpiece of every single element of a film being done wrong. I agree.
Yeah.
And the end result is one of the most entertaining movies of the 80s. Totally agree. Crystal is clearly the only sane person on this show.
Well, that's
that's the
totally-
part I had to take issue with, right?
no.
Totally.
I'm-
You're so smart. So
Brian,
smart,
you're
Brian.
banned from the show, Brian.
So
You're
smart.
banned from the show.
You're
I
the
can't argue with
smartest
anything.
one. Smartest
Thanks.
one, Brian.
Thanks for commenting, Brian. And
Yeah, thanks, Brian.
He obviously listened to it. And Brian, I will say, Brian is a lover of bad movies. I think
I am too.
He and
That's
Jerry
why-
would get along too, as well as Chris.
Speaking of Jerry,
Yeah. Speaking of Jerry's got a comment too. So this time we'll give it to Chad.
Oh, here we go. Yes.
Okay, Chad could have chosen Leviathan, or he could have chosen Deep Rising. He chose unwisely. Well, seeing how Deep Rising was a 90s movie,
yeah.
Oh,
unless you
Oh.
want
If
Deep
you
Stars,
meant Deep Star 6.
Deep Star 6,
Jeez.
maybe.
that's probably what he meant. Yeah.
Jeez, Jerry, I mean, well, no, this would have been a wiser choice than Deep Star 6. But yes,
Yeah,
Deep
Jerry's
Rising.
just giving me the
Deep
business.
Rising's a great movie. Deep Rising is
Deep Rising is a fun movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deep Rising is a lot better than some of the other ones on this list we had.
If you need an ocean monster, I'd probably watch Deep Rising again before The Abyss.
Yeah,
Because I'm looking for
the creature designed by Rob Bottin. Matter of fact.
Routine.
Lots of CGI on that too. That late
lots of
90s.
CGI
Yeah.
but entertaining.
It was
yeah.
what's the guy that his name that Kevin that did the Mummy movies? He did Deep Rising. What was
Did
his
the
name?
what movies?
The Mummy with the Brendan Fraser and
Oh.
Van Helsing. Was this Kevin? He hadn't
How do
done
y'all
movies in so
remember all
long. I
that?
can't.
Yeah,
But it's one of those type of movies. It's a fun,
right.
like roller coaster ride romp. That's very disgustingly gross.
Well written.
And,
Good character.
Oh yeah, and Famke Jensen's on it.
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong there.
Stephen Summers.
Steven Summers, that's it.
Right.
Kevin.
However, it is not an 80s movie, Jerry. You know this. So
I think he meant Deep Star 6.
Yeah.
I'm trying to save you here, Jerry.
Jerry's
I don't think-
smart. He
I
probably
think-
just made a little snafu.
I'd rather get my dates mixed up than think that Deep Star 6 is better than Leviathan, quite frankly.
Well, he could have
Well,
chosen that Deep Star 6 because it was worse than Leviathan.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
it's
that's
true.
yeah,
Yeah, he
exactly.
does like-
exactly. That's what
Yeah,
I was
that's-
thinking.
This man
too.
loves Godzilla versus Megalon, so what are you going to do?
Hey, I do too.
Yeah, well, see,
All right.
that's not helping him out at all, Chad.
Well, thanks to Chad, Mike, Brian, and Jerry for commenting.
Especially
thanks, guys.
Brian.
Really do appreciate it. My
Especially
apologies for Mike for editing. I do appreciate the depth you go into, but I can't. I don't know if I can. We can't read that whole thing on there. So
We got the
anyway,
point, though.
We certainly got the point.
Yeah.
So hey, that's it for this episode.
Finally,
2
we
weeks.
got this episode done.
Every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
or as close as we can come to every 2
Every
weeks. We'll be
2 months.
focusing on a specific film between 1980 and 1989. Next up is one chosen by me.
Yay.
And since we are at the midway point,
Oh yeah.
halfway between to Halloween 2. We've had a couple of listeners say, how come you're not picking Halloween 2? And we've kind of given it some shade as well as a sequel that dropped down. So Halloween 2 will be the next pick.
Yeah. Compared to some of the other Halloweens that came out, Halloween 2 looking better and better.
I love Halloween.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's fun. Now, so stay with us for that. Plenty of ways to stay in touch. I'm sorry. I was going to wander off again, but I'm just sort of.
Jeff's brain's going.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm like,
it literally is. I
Yeah.
haven't. So thanks, everybody. Leave comments. We love comments. Best way to do them is on the YouTube channel or to feedback at gruesomemagazine.com. Those all go to Doc, and he always forwards them.
yay.
So, but also check out Gruesome Magazine's HNR and DOH podcasts
For real.
Facebook group or the gruesomemagazine.com website. And check out Heroes and Droids, another Gruesome Magazine channel on YouTube. So, catch us again here in 2 weeks, everybody, for another great horror movie of the 1980s, as only decades of horror can do it.
Yep.
Say good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night,
Night, everybody.
Especially you, Brian.
Yo, Brian.
Mhm.